Welcome to How to Add Videos to Your eBay Listings Part 2. I want to thank Janelle for sponsoring this series for us. My name is Cindy Shebley. For those of you who don't know me, I sell under the eBay ID of Clover City. I've been a power seller on eBay since 1999. I'm a certified store designer, certified business consultant, and educational specialist. Real quickly, for those of you who are if you want to ask questions, we're going to answer them at the end of the broadcast. So go ahead and type in your questions, and Janelle in the background is monitoring those questions. So she'll ask them of us later on after the end of the program. So send her a text message. If that text message box is in the way for you, there's an arrow up towards the top that will minimize it. If you click that arrow, it won't take you off the webinar. It'll just minimize that box so that you can see the screen. If you want to ask a question, you can click the arrow in the opposite direction and it'll open it up and you can just type in your message there. So with that said, let's get started. Last week, as you know, this is part 2. Last week in part 1, we covered a bit about the equipment needed, how and why to make a video, and how it builds trust with your buyers, and that can lead to profit. We also talked a bit about how low the barriers were. Now, if you missed that broadcast, listen in and watch OSI for a special announcement about how you can see it again in the future. This week, we're going to talk about putting it all together. We're going to talk about planning and scripting your video, what needs to be done before the production. And as we go along, you're going to find that there's a couple of points that Danny and I are definitely really animate about. But for the most part, these tips are guidelines that will help you produce more professional results. While you don't absolutely need to do each and every one of these, as you start to go along, you're going to want to make more professional kind of videos, and these are going to help you along. But don't let these tips intimidate you. Again, these are guidelines to help you producing better videos. With that said, I'm going to introduce Danny and let her start the program.
Hi, I'm Danny Byrne from Ghost Lake Media. We're an internet media company that specializes in helping the online entrepreneur with a special emphasis on eBay sellers. We're the producers of Cindy's latest DVD, How to Add Video to eBay Auctions. And what we're going to talk tonight about is how to put all the elements together to make a good a good internet video for your eBay auctions. And that will have a lot in common with a DVD, but it'll be much more compressed form. So what you want to do is begin with the idea that you're telling a story. Now by that I don't mean the kind of story you might see in a Hollywood blockbuster or a love story or something complicated, but something that has an arc or a storyline that makes your viewer say, this is something I want to know about. You grab and you move them along from the beginning to the end of your 2-minute video. The story can be as simple as saying, here's how this item works. It can be a demonstration of your product, or it can be as complicated as saying, here's why I love this product, here's why it makes my life better, and here's why you'll love it too. The main thing you want to do with your story is grab your audience's interest, and the best way to do that is to start at the end. We've all read mysteries where the first thing we did was turn to the end to see who did it. You probably all remember the interest last summer, this summer, it seems like it went so fast, in the Harry Potter series. And what everybody was talking about was not what the book would be about, but how the series would end. The end is what holds fascination for people. So to get your view into your video, start at the end. And by that I mean start with the results. If you're selling a camera, start with a beautiful picture that you took with that camera and tell your viewers you can take pictures like this. This is what this camera will do for you. If you're doing something like selling a car, you want to start by making the viewer feel like what it would be to be in the driver's seat. In other words, what you want to do is answer the question on your viewer's mind, what's in it for me? That should always be the focus of your selling in the video. Your buyers want to know what this product will do for them. Even if your video is just a demonstration of how the product works, don't lose sight of the real point. Always answer the question of what are the benefits, not what are the features. If you think of some TV commercials you've seen lately, be able to think of great commercials that barely even mention the product at all. They concentrate on telling a story and creating a mood. And the way you do that in a video is by concentrating very tightly on what your story is. The easiest way to do that is to spend a few minutes before you start by working with a storyboard or a script. Now, I don't mean the same kind of traditional storyboard or script that you would see in a long 2-hour production. You're not going to sit down for a 2-minute eBay video and write out literally every single word you're going to say, or use a storyboard to map out every shot and scene. You may only have one shot, so you're not going to have to draw 12 panels per page to work out your video. But you do want to sit down ahead of time and use these kind of tools, the script and the story, plan for your video. You want to think before you start. You don't want to just stand in front of your product, push the record button, and start talking until you run out of things to say. Try to think that you only have 1 to 2 minutes at the most, and you want to say something really important about your product. You want your viewers to understand exactly why it is that they should buy this, so that you don't want to stand there saying and ah and just rambling on about, oh, and by the way, don't forget, and I meant to mention, and I forgot. You want to have this all worked out in advance, and you want to prune out ruthlessly all of the parts that don't really tell the story in your video. So it helps if you write an outline before you start, and it really helps if you say it out loud. You can work out what kind of video. Maybe you're going to have just one shot the entire time from a medium distance while you demonstrate the product. But maybe you're going to want to have 2 or 3 different kinds of shots where you have a long establishing shot and then a close-up of the product. Think about camera placement before you start. Think about whether or not you're going to need to cut in other shots like close-ups. And think about the rhythm of your video. The rhythm can be determined by the product or by the narration or even by what you do to set the mood. For instance, maybe you're trying to sell a car, and it's a restored 57 Ford Woody station wagon. Well, how would you want to do that? Maybe you'll show the car at the beach in a long shot, establishing where it is and setting the mood at the beach, and then you'll pan in or have individual shots of the wood side details and interior, the beautifully restored leather, or the big wide white wall tires, and then you'd show the trunk and the motor and the interior. All that kind of stuff will have a rhythm. You're not going to necessarily have them all at the same length or all for the same amount of time. Work that all out in advance before you start shooting, and you'll have a much smoother video. And then practice what you're going to say. If you're going to have a voiceover where you're not on camera, just the product, well, stand in front of a mirror and practice that voiceover. Don't feel foolish because you're just talking to yourself in a mirror. This is business. And like any kind of public speaking, the more you practice, the more comfortable you'll be with it. And when you get comfortable with it and know what you're going to sell, time it. Make sure that what you're saying matches the length of your video. You don't want to have a 5-minute voiceover with video. So practice it, get comfortable with it, and then when you're ready to go, stand up. strangely enough, if you stand when you speak, you'll find that it's much easier to breathe. And if you think of the pictures you've seen of people, actors doing voiceovers for commercials or singing or anything, they're always standing. So that's just a little hint for all of us who are not professionals. Try standing when you do your narration.
Now what we're going to talk about is the production values, the nuts and bolts of preparing the set, or what's referred to in movie speak actually as production values. Now, as we start seeing more and more sellers using, we're going to stay ahead of the competition by getting better quality videos. And what we're going to do here is break down some tips or some stages of getting a better quality video. First off, keep it simple. That's my rule for everything. Keep it simple. These videos should be short, about 30 seconds to 2 minutes long at the most. Some of mine are actually about 3 minutes, but I actually think that's stretching it a bit. Remember, think of TV. When you watch a TV ad, you're seeing short bits of information really quickly. Some people do look at info commercials late at night, but they're more for entertainment. But what we're doing here for eBay, we want to keep them short. Now, don't try to do a lot of special effects like zooming and panning. They're very difficult to do for the non-professional. Movie studios have those cameras on wheels, and they're not, they're actually do zoom and pan. They actually time the zoom and pan, and they use a ruler to actually measure out the distance. So they spend a lot of time creating those zooms and pans. We're not trying to do Star Wars here with a lot of special effects. What we're doing is making our product the star. So keep it simple and make sure that your product that you're selling is the star. Now, of course, you can have fun, and those videos that you have fun with, you can be very creative with. But remember, they're going to take a lot of time to create. Most of you, or some of you, may have seen that Buy My Guitar video that eBay was showing around as a video. Well, that was very clever. It was a lot of fun to watch, but it probably took that seller several days to put that production together. So what we want to do is keep it a little bit shorter and not make it such a big production that we're not going to get it done. So keep it simple, and always ask yourself as you're creating the video, does this add to the story? Again, we want to keep them short, so at every turn and at every scene, keep asking that question. I tend to get a little long-winded and go on when I'm doing my videos. The nice thing about it is Danny's in the background editing a lot of that stuff out, so we're keeping it a little bit shorter. Keep that in mind as well, that in the editing process you might end up cutting out even some more. Be prepared for that, that possibility as well. But at every turn, ask yourself, does this add to the story of my product? This is the fun part of the whole thing. You get to be the director. This is your set. You're in charge of what people see on this video. So you have to look at all of the elements. Just like in still photography, everything that's on the stage that the camera sees must be considered. When setting the stage, to actually, once you've got it set up, to film a few seconds or maybe half a minute and play it back. And you might even want to take it and play it back on your computer. You'll be surprised how many things you'll notice by playing it back on a larger monitor. So you can see some things you may have missed. And especially lighting, elements like lighting are really hard and they'll reveal themselves when you actually play it back. So if you don't have the lighting quite right, you'll see it if you play it back. So I recommend, if you're going to maybe to shoot a few seconds or 15 seconds or so and take a look at it. Check the placement of things. Always look for the best angle. Walk around your set. Look at all the different angles, above and below, beside. And don't forget to try that old cliche, the old director's cliche, where you hold your fingers up and frame the video or the scene. It'll actually give you some idea of what people are going to see. Experiment with different product shots as well. Sometimes shooting from above might give some drama to the object. Sometimes shooting below adds more impact as well. So up above and down below or from sides. Try some different angles. Also, sometimes there's some distracting elements that might be better off if you just move your camera angle a few inches. Working with or demoing products can be a little bit challenging. It's really easy to get out of frame. I was doing a flash diffuser one just a little while ago, and my hands kept going out of the scene so that people couldn't see what I was doing. What we finally did was we taped the set, just like an old-fashioned movie film. We put pieces of tape where it would be out of scene. So do tape the set. It'll help you understand where your parameters are when you're out of scene. Now, actors hit their marks in Hollywood simply by standing on a taped X. So if you've got somebody who's going to be walking into the scene, just tape the spot where they're supposed to stop, things like that. You could actually tape the elements as well in the scene if you're worried that you're going to have to come back and shoot it for continuity. You can put pieces of tape where every piece of element of the scene was. I also recommend that you tape your tripod where your tripod feet were. In case you have to come back and shoot, you'll know exactly where the tripod was so that you can get continuity if you have to reshoot. Just like in still photography, what you want to do is fill the frame with the object. Your camera might be farther away, and in fact, most likely you're going to want to do what's called a medium range shot. It means your camera's 5 to 7 feet away from the item. What happens is that you're going to use your your optical zoom to zoom in on the object. Doing that, it flattens the dimension a little bit and complements subjects a little bit more. And again, by zooming in, you can fill the frame and get in close. Now, with a product like this, you can see, just like in still photography, you can use a simple piece of poster board as your frame and make it simple. We've gotten rid of the clutter in the background. Now, just the coffee pot is in focus, and that's all your viewers are concentrating on. Now, I know we have some shy people out there that are on the line, or it might be that your camera may not record sound. While it's not absolutely necessary to have voice narration, let me tell you that higher final values might be your inspiration for talking on your video. So if you're too shy or you don't want to be in your own video or have your own voice out there, hire a neighbor, ask a spouse, ask somebody else. You're going to write the script anyhow. Have them read it for you. Good quality sound is going to pay off, and we talked about this a little last week, but if you're going to record a person, get a lavalier mic and mic that person. If you're going to record a moving target or a group of people, use a shotgun mic. Whenever possible, avoid using the on-mic or on-camera microphone. Those microphones will pick up everything, including the camera noise as it's operating. If it's the only thing you have, I recommend you use it, but as soon as you're ready to take your production to the next level, look into getting a lavalier mic or a shotgun mic. Again, a well-lit stage is important. Generally, video is going to take more light than still photography, but the good news is that video is a little less sensitive to light colors, so it's really easy to add more light. Simply, let me give you an example. Like if you were using a webcam to do a video of yourself and you didn't have enough light, what you could do is put a light on each side of your monitor. Get a table light, put one on each side of your monitor. You're going to light up your face better. You might want to then put a light behind you, a table lamp behind you, to highlight your background and give you more dimension. That's going to make the scene a lot more viewable for your viewers. I recommend also that as you start using more and more lights in your video, lights can really heat up a area physically. And again, just like still photography, if you've ever heard me talk, I recommend those compact fluorescent bulbs because they give you a lot of light, they're flicker-free, and they're a lot cooler to work under. Again, what we want to try for is no harsh shadows and no glare spots. So figure out some way to diffuse those lights. Put something between the lights that's translucent and your main subject. That'll cut down on the lights. Now, video is considered a cool medium, and when you start to notice that things look a little bit too blued, it's time to start experimenting with the camera's white balance. Now, I can't explain to you each and every one of your cameras and how to set the white balance. You're going to have to read the manual. That's the bad news. But here's a tip. Now, instead of using what still photographers use, and that's called a white card, they'll do their white balance by zooming in on a piece of white, all white paper or on a pure white subject. What you want to do probably with video is to use a light blue card or what's called an 18% gray card. What that does is it tells the camera that is white. And what the camera does is overcompensate to make everything a nice warm color. And that's kind of what we're all used to when we look at TV. We see nice warm colors. People look healthy and they've got a nice warm glow, as well as products. Controlling your background. Watch the background. You can see here we've got 3 different backgrounds. It tells a story about 3 different items. If you're shooting on a table, you're shooting a product on a table, use a nice neutral color. Try to avoid super white, bright whites and bright colors, because if you're not a professional and you don't know exactly how to set the exposure on a video camera, what's going to happen is with those real white, pure white colors, you're going to blow out the scene. So use a more neutral color like a neutral blue or a neutral gray or a warmer color. Remember also that people respond to different colors, and we want to always romance our buyers. So think about the color of that tablecloth. We talked about this a little bit earlier about romancing your buyers, and I want to revisit it. If you're going to do a car, you're going to do a video of a car, it might be more romantic to go to the beach, the ocean for a sunset, to put more romance in the video, or go to the park where there's lots of trees around, nice peaceful setting. And if it's a collectible car, you definitely don't want to forget to put those award-winning trophies on the hood as props. So remember, romancing the buyer. Oh my gosh, Danny, you are such a joker. I don't even know what to say. I'm going to turn this over to you.
I don't know why Cindy keeps running away from this picture. I don't have these lamps, but if I ever see them anywhere, they're bought. But imagine these lamps are what you're selling. Now, if you had something like this, how would you want to dress your set? Well, the lamps themselves are so wild, you wouldn't want anything else to detract from them. So you'd probably want some sort of background for your video, similar to just what you see here, plain, very neutral background so that the lamp stands out. When you turn it on, you'd see the soft glow through the shade. You might have a fan or something to ruffle the fringe. And maybe you'd set the lamp on some kind of turntable or a Lazy Susan or something so you could move it around and show it from all angles, which would be easier than moving your camera around. But think again. So in that sense, dressing the set would be just a plain white background. But think again, what if you're not selling this lamp? What if what we're selling is a collection of 40s film noir posters? Or maybe what you're selling is some kind of end table from the 40s or the 50s. Well, this lamp could be the perfect prop for that. If you had this lamp on an end table, or you had the lamp illuminating a poster from The Postman Always Rings Twice, you'd be creating a mood with it that would create an emotion in your buyer that might make them want to buy the end table or the 40s nostalgia even more than just the object by itself. So don't be afraid to use props in your videos if you think that they'll help sell your product. The point is always what you want to do at the end of this video is make your buyer click that Buy Now button. So think if it'll add to the product. If it will, go ahead and use it. If it won't, unfortunately, you have to put it back in the closet. But also think if you find something like this around your house that's so weird and so unusual, does it in some way actually have something to do with what you sell in your eBay store? Because these videos have a much longer shelf life than just the 7 days that your auction item might be up or the little while that your buy it now store items are out on eBay. Maybe what you want to do is use something like a lamp like this to help brand your store. If you were selling vintage record albums from the 40s and the 50s, maybe you would have a video that would start, say, all black, and you would just reach in and turn on this lamp, and it would illuminate, maybe a Tina Turner record. This would be Tina Turner, and Tina would start singing Proud Mary with this leg that looks a lot like a Tina Turner thing. And after a few bars, you could turn it back off. It's the kind of thing that on YouTube really grabs people's attention and gets passed around, and it could help draw people into your store as long as there was a way to direct them at the end with a URL on a title card into your store. So think about other ways to use these videos as well as just a quick intro to your product. Set the stage with the video, and it'll help set the mood for your item. I got this picture from a kayak company. Now, I don't think I can even tell that that's a kayak the guy's holding, and I don't think you can either. It could be a surfboard, it could be a canoe, it could be almost anything, but I'm assuming it's a kayak because they're selling kayaks. They most clearly are not selling kayaks, they're selling the romance of being out on the ocean in a kayak. And that's the kind of thing you might also want to do with your videos. You don't always need to have one that's just a straightforward demonstration of your product. The lighting and the background and the setting will cause an emotional reaction in the person viewing the product, and hopefully that positive reaction will be transferred to whatever it is you're selling, and the buyer, the viewer of your video, will want that much more to buy the item. Of course, on eBay, you're going to have to limit the amount of time and money you put into a video. If you're selling a $25 item, you're not going to spend days setting up a video shoot. What you spend in time and money on the video has to be proportionate to the value of the item. If you're selling it's worth $5, that's just 15 minutes of your time. So don't go crazy. But if it's something that is going to have a long life in promoting your store, if it's something that's selling an expensive item like a car or a vacation or a motorhome, go ahead and spend some extra time setting it up. Think of all of the ways you can create a mood when you're creating your video. And one of the easiest ways to create a mood is with music. Music is an essential item to any video. I've read that 60% of every video is audio. So what you want to do is use background music, if you can, in your video to help create, again, a mood. If you think of the commercials you see on TV, they always have music. They may have more music than spoken words. Background music is very important. And to give you an idea of how much difference music can make, we've set out on the video blog that goes with Ghostleg two identical photo stories. One has one type of music, the second one has a different soundtrack. Everything else about them is exactly the same. As an experiment, you might go and view both of those videos and then listen to them a third time with the sound turned off entirely and see if you have any different reaction. Maybe one will make you feel a little happy, one might make you a bit sad, and I think the one without sound might lose your interest a lot faster than the other two. So it'd be interesting for you to go and look at it, and if you're so moved, leave a comment and say what you think of it, just as an experiment. The one thing you want to be careful of with music is that this has been a problem on eBay, and I don't think it will be for a while, but music has a condition attached to it that's called royalties. You've probably heard that singers and songwriters get royalties. What that means is that every time a bit of music is played, the composer is supposed to be compensated for it. And there's a whole organization that does absolutely nothing but monitor it. I don't know how they do it, but they know if some polka band in Indianapolis plays My Eyes Adores You at a reception, they know about it, and you're supposed to get royalties paid to the composer from it. And it's the band that plays the music that pays the royalties. So you don't want eBay yanking your video because it turns out you used a couple bars of a Bruce Springsteen song and somebody complains that you're playing copyrighted music. Be careful with that. One way to avoid it is to use something that's known as out, royalty-free music. That's BUYOUT, buy out. You can find it on eBay. You can find it on the web. Buyout music can be anything as short as 10 or 15 seconds to a 10 or 20 CD collection. Sometimes buyout music will only cost you $1 or $2 to buy a short loop. And it may well be worth it for a video that you're going to put on YouTube and hope that you get 10 or 20,000 hits. Because it could be disastrous somewhere down the road for YouTube to just pull your video. So think about that. It's not something that I think is going to be a big problem for anyone. But because you're using your music in a commercial way, it's something to keep in mind. And the other thing to keep in mind is the first rule of retailing, which is know your audience. If you're selling a skateboard, you're going to want to play different music than if you're selling massage oil. And the way you determine what music to play is through the second rule of retailing, which is you are not your audience. Just because Celine Dion singing My Love Goes On or whatever that was that she sang in Titanic is your favorite song, that's not the song you should use to promote your skateboards. On the same track, if your favorite song is something by Def Leppard, you wouldn't want to use that to promote your relaxing vacation and spa weekend. What you want is music that is appropriate to your item and that won't upset your audience. When they hear it, you want your audience to feel like this, not like this. The quickest way to end an annoying racket on eBay is to just click out of the auction, and that's not what we're trying to do. Don't want our buyers to run away from us. We want to use these videos to sell, not to annoy. So remember, you're not your customer, and put your customer first. Everything in your video should go towards selling your product.
Okay, let's start talking a little bit about marketing. Now, once you get this video made, you're going to want to market it. Just like when you write stuff, I always say you want to use it over and over again. So let's take a look at some of the other areas you can use to market your business with this video. Obviously, you want to put it on YouTube. There are more viewers on YouTube or traffic than any other video site on the internet right now. So, of course, you want to add it to YouTube. And YouTube is one of the simplest ways, once you upload it to YouTube to put it into your eBay listing. Now, if you want more information about how to exactly put a YouTube video into an eBay listing, I really can strongly recommend that DVD that we just created called Add Video to eBay Auctions. We actually talk about that in MySpace as well. So I recommend you purchase that. And let's start talking about some of the other uses for that video. Be my friend. Please be my friend. I need friends. Everyone needs friends on MySpace. What I want you to notice here is the number of videos uploaded on MySpace the other day. That's a phenomenal number, and it's growing. So what I do with my MySpace is that I put my videos, I upload them to MySpace, and I put my videos on my MySpace page. As I have the video, I rotate those videos out, so it's good spider food. Meanwhile, those other videos stay in my video area, so everybody on MySpace can view them. So I'm getting more traffic, lots of good spider food. So if you don't have a MySpace page yet, here is a good reason for you to get one, so you can use those videos on MySpace. Now, there are a lot of other sites that you can upload this video to. Once you have your video optimized for YouTube, you'll be able to use them all over the web. And we talk about that on the video as well, how to optimize for best viewing. So do consider taking your video and taking the time to upload them to these other sites. Each of these has their own community of loyal viewers. So you don't want to limit yourself to just YouTube or MySpace. So get yourself on these other sites, get an account with them, become part of their community as well. Not only will more people see it, the chances of you getting ranked higher on Google, MSN, and the search engines is a lot better. The more instances you have of that video, the more ranking you're going to get in the Google videos. Don't forget the vlogs. That's VLOG. That is the video equivalent of a blog. So do consider creating a blog. And I have a big scoop for you. If you haven't heard yet, as of September 13th, Amazon has video reviews. So any of you who are doing cross-selling, this is really exciting. What I did the other day was I put one of my flash diffusers on Amazon for sale. And Danny, my bus buddy Danny, put a video review up of that video that we actually created of how to use that flash diffuser. Within 24 hours, Danny had five ratings of usefulness. So that's going to bump that diffuser up in the rankings. So that was pretty exciting. Use watermarks, like Danny was talking about earlier with the lamps. What we want to do is get these videos out. Unlike still photographers who watermark their images so they can't be stolen, we should be so lucky. We want these videos to make the rounds on the Internet. And when we do, we want our buyers or our lookers to know how to find us. So what we want to do is put a watermark on our video. If you have a product that is being specifically sold on eBay for a 7-day auction, well then put a watermark down at the bottom that has the URL to your eBay. And also create a second one that has a URL, if it's going to be information, maybe that directs the viewer to your website as well. So with with YouTube giving us free space, we could have a couple different versions up there. We might as well take advantage of it. Web hosting is free. Let's enjoy it. Also, title cards. Put title cards on the front and the back of your video so people know where to find you. Put your URL as part of the title card. Also, make your title card consistent so it's part of branding your videos. And so as if you make more and more videos, people will start recognizing that these are your videos from those title cards. This is a good thing. Be sure, though, that it has the URL so people know where to find you. One idea for this video might be if you're making a video about how to use product, flash diffusers I've been talking about. People weren't really getting what they were, how nifty they were, so I made a video that said, this is how you use them, and it was like a light bulb. Aha, this is it. And I got a lot more attention, a lot more sales for them. So what you might want to do, in my case anyhow, is make a short, condensed version for my eBay ad. So just a quick one, this is how to use it, and then a longer version while I'm at it that I can throw into the box to give to my buyers. I can also say in the video that they're getting this tutorial on CD with it, and people will pay more because they'll get an extra brand or they'll get an extra product. I have a really good success doing this with my e-tents. I stay ahead of my competition by giving the Easy Auction seminar to my buyers as part of the purchase. People love knowing that they're going to know how to use it. They're going to see a video how to get the most out of their photos, and they'll pay a little bit extra. So it's a good way to build customer relationship. And, you know, speaking of learning and more information, as this technology evolves, Danny's kind of already given it away, but I'm going to turn it over because she has an exciting announcement about more information.
Ghostleg Media has a blog about using video. It's at www.ghostleg.com/blog. We tried to make it easy because those of you who listened last week may remember that Cindy couldn't remember the name or location of her own blog. So we're thinking maybe these URLs are a little more complicated. So if you're interested in video, if you like the kind of tips you've heard in these seminars, you'll find a lot more of them at www.ghostleg.com. We've also put up on the blog a storyboard, well, actually 2 storyboard templates that you can download. As you see, one of them is the traditional 9 frames, and the other is a portrait orientation, 3 frames with room on the side for you to write notes about how you're going to arrange the shot or your script. If you're not a very good artist, like most of us, and your shots, your storyboard are just stick figures, and you come back and look at it a week after you've roughed it out, you don't even know what your storyboard is telling you. It's like there's some kind of pencil here that has light shining on it and arrows shooting at it. It's a good thing to have notes on the side that says this pencil is actually a motorcycle, and those arrows are the direction of the lighting. So you can use either or both of these storyboards. They're both free to load PDF format. You can save them to your hard drive and print off as many or as few as you need. And that's just our way of thanking you for coming to these seminars. If you've enjoyed this, you can come back again for part 3. We'll have the registration up in about 10 minutes after this seminar ends. It takes a few minutes for us to get out and get the next one set up. So please try and check in 10 or 15 minutes after this ends. We'd love to have you come in next week. We're going to be talking about software and actually some of the steps that we've gone through in editing the videos we've done on eBay. And we'll talk about free software like Windows Movie Maker and Photo Story, inexpensive software like QuickTime Pro, and even the slightly more complicated packages like Sony Movie Studio. And I hope that you'll find it very interesting. So let's turn this over now to Janelle for some questions. And in the meantime, we'll leave up by the DVD screen while we talk to you and take your questions.
Hi, Danny and Cindy. How are you?
Pretty good.
Fabulous class again, as always.
Thank you.
And we got some really good questions. So for those of you, hi, puppy. And for those of you,
that was Rascal saying hi.
And for those of you on the call who have questions for these two brilliant video geniuses, shoot them on over, and we'll hopefully get to them before the top of the hour. Gosh, we have some housekeeping to do first, though, you guys. I have to tell you, Steve, who's one of our fabulous education specialists from Alabama, wants you to know that the Celine Dion song is "My Heart Will Go On." Just so we're clear on this.
Okay, thank you.
And then the other part I have to clear up, Danny, those lamps are from A Christmas Story, and you can buy them on eBay.
Really? Okay.
Yes, of course.
I'll search tonight. I want.
So just so we're clear on those things. Very important questions coming in. Now, we got a great question that came in from Jim, and I would say I have this question as well, so I'm glad that Jim asked you guys. He says, should video be off when the auction is opened and have customers have to start it, or should it start the moment the auction is opened?
My personal opinion, I don't think there's an actual right or wrong answer on this, but in something like an eBay auction, you're going to have to link to YouTube, and you don't have a choice in that case. YouTube is always off. You have to click that play button for it to start streaming. So in eBay, you're not going to have a choice. If you're putting your video on your web page or a blog, my preference is also for the person to be able to click it and start it. But there are exceptions to that. When we made the first web page for Cindy's DVD, we had just a little tiny 160 by 160 video on the side, and it starts to play as soon as you load the web page. And the reason we did that was because we made it very small and wanted to draw people's attention to it. If you'd just seen the little tiny box, you may not have realized there was a video. So we wanted it to be both at the same time, both attention-getting and inobtrusive. So it starts playing automatically. But you might have a page on a blog with 5 or 6 different videos on it, and if they're all playing at once, you can drive people crazy. So I don't think there's a real right or wrong answer. It sort of depends on what you're trying to do. But as far as eBay goes, you don't have a choice. It's always going to start with the video off.
Okay. I think that's a good answer. And it's also really important to understand that, you know, in Seattle, which is where Danny, Cindy, and I are at, it is required by law to have a fast connection because Steve Jobs said, Steve Jobs, listen to me, because Microsoft says we have to have a fast connection. But the rest of the country, about 30% are still on dial-up. It's between
Absolutely.
30 and 40%. So you do have to be a little bit careful about chasing people off of your auctions if it's waiting to load a video, right?
Right. Although with YouTube, it's not quite as big a problem. I mean, they've taken some of this into consideration in how they make the video stream with a really compressed flash format. But it's still a good idea to always think that whoever's viewing your web page or your auction has a slower connection than you do. So, plan for the worst rather than the best.
Now, we had a bunch of questions that came in about YouTube from quite a few different people about, is there any concern about having a YouTube account with hosting your videos?
I would say no, but let me see if Cindy has a different opinion. We can't both hear you at the same time, so if there's a little lag here, I apologize.
Do I have any concerns with having a YouTube account? No. I do recommend that you change the settings to monitor the actual comments. You'll get a lot of spam and some of those Viagra type comments. So we want to monitor them even more than on a blog. I have my comments on a blog open, but on my YouTube I monitor that stuff. So that's my only concern.
So you're talking about on YouTube itself where we put comments below it?
Yes.
Can you go in and remove those if you can?
Yes, you can.
That's a good
and it's just like having a YouTube account is just like having a MySpace account. You want friends. So if anybody would like to be my friend, it's Clover City TV. I'd love to share videos with y'all.
Very cool. I'm sure they would learn a ton from looking at your videos too. Clover
Oh,
City.
and don't forget, we all want to rate each other's videos. Getting them rated, it gets more viewers. So if we can, go in there and you like them, rate them, please.
Good point. Now, Cindy, you had brought up something, and we had gotten a couple of questions about this, just some vocabulary words. You were talking about a lavalier and shotgun mic. Can you explain a little bit more about what those are? For people who are on tour or for a lot of our education specialists, that's going to be second nature to them. But some people have never been in front of anybody
right.
where they've had to be mic'd. So can you tell them a little bit about what these are?
Yeah, we talked a little bit about this last week, but what a lavalier mic is it's what's known as a directional mic, which means that it's only going to pick up the person who's talking. And lavalier is a word that means it clips on the lapel. So it's one of those little clip mics that people see. If you've ever seen somebody up on stage, they've probably had one clipped onto their lapel. That's what a lavalier mic is. You can get one that will hook into your video so that the sound goes directly into the video recorder. And things like airplanes going over or dogs barking in the background are not going to be picked up. It's just miking you specifically. A shotgun mic actually sits on top of the video camera, or it can be handheld. And those are kind of what are known as unidirectional, or all the way around mics. So think of why it would be called a shotgun. If you think those pellets all go out in kind of a V shape and scatter. That's the same thing that a shotgun mic does. Is it goes out and it picks up voices or whatever you're recording in kind of a format in front of the microphone. It doesn't necessarily pick things up that are going on behind the microphone. So if you're pointing the microphone at a direction, it's not going to pick up maybe you talking if you're the video camera person talking behind it, but anybody in front of or whatever the action is, the shotgun mic will pick up.
Good point. There was just some technical comments, and people were like, "What?"
Yeah.
And I wouldn't know. I mean, the first time I was on tour, my very first tour stop ever with eBay was Eugene, Oregon. I will never forget it. It was an interesting day because I went to Oregon State, so we're evil rivals. So my first time I have to speak is at Eugene, Oregon. Do you have your lavalier yet? And I'm like, do I have my who?
Say what? Hey.
So I wouldn't know either. Yeah. I don't have my crown yet either. So. Now, we got a really good question in from one of the listeners, and I think it has to do with next week, so I just want to double check. Asking if you're taking a video with your camera, can you cut out parts and put two videos together, splice them? And
yes, you can.
Okay. Well, there's part two of this one, too.
Okay.
So they also ask, can you effectively move out of music into dialogue? Like, how do you do that?
Yes, you can. And how complicated you want to make that is up to you. But there are free tools that will do all of this. And as usual, with free tools, it involves a little more effort on your part. And there's stuff for sale like Sony Movie Studio, between $50 and $80. That makes it very easy. They'll have what they call multiple tracks on the software. And depending on how complex the software is, you might have one video and one audio track, and you can edit them each independently. So, you can edit your audio track, have your music come in, and then just fade out and then the narration begins and fades in. But they don't, one actually ends before the other begins, but the fading in and out makes it a little smoother transition. That's usually what you end up doing with one audio track. If you have something like Sony Movie Studio or a free program that you can download, which we'll have the URL to next week, called Audacity. But if you're into this stuff in the meantime, you can do a Google search. Find it at Audacity, Audacity. It's an extremely good audio editing program, and it's totally free, and it lets you add as many audio tracks as you want. So you can have 2 or 3 tracks going at once and have one fading out at the same time the other is coming up. So, and you can do that same kind of thing with video. Again, you need multiple tracks. There's free software like Windows Movie Maker or iMovie on the Mac that will let you work with one track, and you can cut and move tracks around and drop tracks in. You can do all kinds of really fairly creative editing, but it's harder when there's just one track.
I love Audacity. I use them. It's a pretty powerful program for being
It is. It's kind of intimidating when you first start, but it turns out not to be that hard to use.
I only use like 3 parts of it, so much more powerful than what I'm using it for. We got a follow-up question about the shotgun mic that Cindy just answered, wanting to know if the shotgun mic attaches to a camera. So still getting that visual of what a shotgun mic is.
It does. And while you're getting a visual, it fits in the hot shoe.
The hot shoe?
Yeah. There's usually a actual like shoe thing where a mic will or some sort of accessory will slide into the top of the camera. It looks like a couple of little guide rails up on the top, brackets, a couple of little brackets up on the top. And the shotgun mic is meant to fit right in that bracket. It'll also, depending on what kind of shotgun mic it is, it'll actually plug in or it will draw its power from the hot shoe. But
perfect. You know, I think next week, every time you guys use a technical word, I'm going to have an answer what it is. Wait, I don't know. Wait.
Yeah, there's a lot of technical terms, and we're trying to keep it in regular eBay speak for us all, because it does get to be kind of overwhelming and intimidating when you start hearing some of these terms.
Definitely. Well, I think you guys are doing an awesome job, and you're doing such an awesome job that people want to go back and watch the first video. So people are asking, and I know my answer, but I'm going to obviously defer it to you. They want to know where they can watch the first week and obviously rewatch this week, and as well as the other 3 in the series.
I don't know, Janelle. I think maybe we'd better refer to you.
Well, from my end, because I'm not sure what Cindy's going to do with her end, where she's going to put the videos up, but from my end, you will be finding out on the 24th of this month where the videos will be.
Okay. And on our end, we haven't made a decision yet. So that's the thing you should do is come to the 4th, well, come to the 3rd as well, but certainly come to the 4th video seminar, and we'll probably have an announcement at the end of that. If you miss that for any reason at all, just keep checking in on the blog at ghostleg.com/blog, B-L-O-G, and we'll keep you apprised of all that kind of stuff there. Lots of information on the blog.
Oh, I like that blog. And we'll, of course, tell them on the newsletter, too. We'll keep them updated with all the good information. So I want to let everybody... and you too, I want to let everybody know that if you don't have your video yet, I apologize, your DVD yet, run out and buy one. I just got mine in the mail, and it's absolutely fabulous. Probably much healthier for me than watching TV. So absolutely amazing. So if any of you guys on the have yet your DVD, definitely run to clovercitysells.com/OSI video and grab yours, because it's a great thing to have. You know what I'm thinking, you guys, is I'm thinking that would be an awesome gift to give somebody on your eBay list.
I think it would.
I think that would be a lot of fun. I'm just thinking, I've already started buying my Christmas gifts, so I'm trying to figure out ways to cross people off.
You know, the thing with these videos, we've seen several that you've had on your, mentioned in your newsletter, and I just love them. I think they're wonderful what people are doing. It's really exciting to see these things in the auction. When I watched that Mickey Mouse video, Cindy had to stop me from bidding on it. It's just, I wanted that thing. It was Mickey. He was speaking to me. I really wanted to bid on it. And, you know, we have one working phone jack with a fax plugged in. So I think that it's adding video auction really boost your sales, because they do evoke that kind of emotional reaction from people. Watching the one you promoted today, where the guy is talking about the Hot Wheels, but the little boy is playing in the back. He's so wrapped up in the Hot Wheels, he's paying no attention to his dad. It was just a wonderful visual looking at that. So I think, people are going to start more and more realizing that these videos are what you need in your auctions. And the more people get them, it gets a little blah. It's like, oh, here's another video. Like you may remember, depending on how ancient you are, when animated GIFs and banners and things, we knew everybody had them. It was exciting for 3 days, and then it was annoying. You want your videos to be really good, and we hope that what the DVD does is help you make the best-looking videos that you can, so that you still stand out, even if there are a whole bunch of others being shown. You'll still have the kind of videos that draw people into your auctions. So hopefully the DVD will be able to help you do that.
I think that would be great. And, I'm looking at who's on the call right now, and we have, interestingly enough, a ton of education specialists on this call. Huge shout out to all of my education specialists out there. It looks like we even have Marcia and Harvey on the call, so that's exciting to see them on there.
Hey, Marcia and Harvey.
Yeah, that's awesome. But we have some really great education specialists on the call right now. Instead of just doing this in their auctions, holy cow, what if you had somebody tape you teaching a portion of your class and threw it up on your website?
Hey, stop getting my ideas.
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
Hey.
I mean, seriously, I'm looking at these talents that we have on the call right now, and holy cow, if you tape just a few minutes of these brilliant people that I've heard speak before, I can class in 2 seconds. Same thing with you, Cindy.
Yeah, it's true. One of our educational specialists actually did a short video, and it's on an eBay listing. And Jack Waddock, he did it. And it's so fun to watch it because you can get a sense of what he'd be like as a teacher. It's just him talking. He's telling you about the class, and you get the idea that taking a class from him would be really fun. So I think it's an excellent use of it.
Oh, Jack's great. And, I'm thinking Marcia and Harvey's personality on video.
Holy
cow, their classes in New York would be packed in 2 seconds.
I think so, too.
I know they already are, but holy cow, I think people would travel from international to awesome. Well, we have just incredible people on this call. And, I have to give a special shout out to Anne. Hi, Anne. She is the first person on this call to actually pitch her business. I've been waiting for this. I keep trying to tell you guys we're more than willing to, talk about your business, give out website information, whatever it is you want, because it's all about your business. So Anne has a business called Brown Dog Treasures, and she has offered Rascal a Halloween collar. She just needs to know what kind of dog he is. So I'll put you two in touch with each other. But nice job, Anne. I've been waiting the whole call, the whole hour for somebody to pitch their business, and there you go. Anne did it with Brown Dog Treasures. So. Well,
thank you. I'm sure Rascal will look great in it. She's a little white and black dog.
Oh, that would be very cute.
With a very deep voice.
Well, I'm excited for next week. Cindy, do you want to remind them really quick what we're doing next week? At time?
Yes, same time, same place. Give us 15 minutes to get the new the new landing page up for you to register. If it's still week 2, clear your cache so that you can be sure you're on part 3. Part 3 will be about video editing software. We're going to take a look at several different sorts of ways to make motion or, spruce up your videos with video editing software. So September 24th is the date. And then the 4th one will be the following Tuesday, so September 25th. We're going to kind of wrap it up. You and I, Janelle, we're going to talk a little bit about videos for beyond just eBay, kind of a little bit about putting flash on your video, on your websites and audio and things like that. So we're going to talk a little bit more about marketing videos.
I'm so excited for that one.
Yeah, should be fun.
That one's going to be good for Squidooin.
Our favorite.
Awesome. Oh, I'm sorry. We just got another one that came in from Marcia. Marcia, hold on one second. My little mouse doesn't want to work. Education specialists send video mailings to your previous students to come to advanced classes.
Yes.
That's very brilliant. We love Marcia and Harvey. I miss them.
Yes.
How come everybody has to live so far away?
You know, Marcia's got Skype. She and I have been Skyping each other. And Marcia has gone someplace that I haven't yet. She actually has a webcam on, so when you Skype her, you can see her talking.
Oh, cute.
Yes.
And, you know, if they put together a bunch of videos, then I'm not so lonely not seeing all of you guys on this call. If you put together videos, I can come visit you then.
That's right.
Awesome. Well, Cindy and Danny, thank you again so much. I apologize we ran over just because I'm excited about all the questions coming in. But
I'm excited to hear people are asking.
Thank you guys for putting on another fabulous video information. And I'm excited
for hosting this, Janelle. We really appreciate it. Opening up your lines for us and letting us, offer this to people.
My honor, definitely. And for everybody on this call, thank you for choosing success.